Hey guys, this is Gerry, yours a point for kids first, and today we're reviewing the absolutely phenomenal film, Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. Now this is a film that comes up 15 years after the first Harry Potter film released in theaters, and it has comedy, it has romance, it has action, it has drama, and it is so very exciting. Now, what the story is about, it's about a zoologist, a magizoologist, somebody who studies magical animals, named Newt, who is played by Eddie Redmayne. And Newt goes to New York City because he's looking for a very rare animal breeder. The only person in the world lives in New York City. So he goes to New York City looking for that animal breeder, and he brings a lot of magical animals with him. Well, he accidentally gives all these magical animals to a muggle or a no-mage who is pretty much somebody who doesn't have any magical powers. And this causes quite a lot of problems. With the help of a few new friends, he finally gets all the magical creatures back, but as he gets the magical creatures back, he learns that there is a huge threat to New York City. He may be the only one that can actually help. If you want to find out what happens, what am I talking about, you gotta watch the film. Now, the movie is slightly different from the other Harry Potter movies you know and love, because first of all, the story is much more complex, because previous Harry Potter films, they were lucky to be in a series. They could follow their own plot individually in films, but they can also somewhat follow the plot of the whole series. This one has a beginning and an end, and it doesn't have any sequels. It's just this, and that's it. And this causes some problems because they fit a lot of different material in this film, which causes things to get a little complex and a little confusing, and it will make you think, wait, how did this happen? How did that happen? When did that happen? When did this happen? And you may have to rewatch it 3 or 4 times to fully grasp exactly what the story is. Another thing I didn't like related to the story was the villain. Now, first it tells you this is the antagonist, no, that's the antagonist, no, this is the antagonist. And then I thought, well, maybe it's trying to let you decide who's the antagonist. But then at the end, they did this huge reveal who's the antagonist, and honestly, you have no idea who he is. And it's just like a completely random guy, and based off the characters, you can tell that's a bad guy, but you don't understand why, what did they do, what's actually going on, and why did they become a bad guy? Because the previous Harry Potter films, there's a lot of information about the bad guy and their story, while this one, there was absolutely nothing, which I didn't like too much. Now, something I absolutely loved about this film was the acting. Everybody did a fantastic portrayal of the roles, but my favorite was Eddie Redmayne, who played Newt. He just blew the house away. He did so fantastic. And Newt is a really unique character because he's energetic, but he's also quiet. He's very unique, and you can clearly see he has a lot thinking about in his brain. And it was just so interesting to see Eddie Redmayne play that character. And I really liked that character and how he portrayed it. And I honestly thought that he did perfectly. And I would love to see him more in Harry Potter films because he just plays them so perfectly. Two other things I absolutely loved about this movie was the cinematography and the special effects. First of all, they played with each other so well. Like, there's some sort of giant magical monster going through the middle of Manhattan, and they had the cinematography doing aerial shots that were so long and so beautiful, and the cinematography just played so perfectly with the special effects, which were just so amazing, so detailed, made the monsters look so real, and it just played perfectly together. They both separately were amazing, but together they were spectacular, and it was definitely one of the best parts about the film, just to see all these monsters to be so realistic, and that is something that the previous Harry Potter films achieved perfectly, and so did this one, because from the little monsters to the big monsters to just the balance between characters, everything looked beautiful, and the cinematography perfectly described everything. Another perk about this film is the costume design. The film takes place in the 1920s, and it really does look the part. All the characters, from the men to the woman to the kids, everybody in the film fits the part of the 1920s, and I really like that because it shows a lot of detail. Even the homes feel like the 1920s. The whole world around them feels like the 1920s, which is really good. It feels very authentic. Just the costumes in general are very beautiful, felt realistic, and I greatly enjoyed that. Now, my favorite scene would probably be when he first goes into his suitcase. Now, that may sound a little weird, but his suitcase that he brings to him into New York, it's a little magical. Like a lot of things in Harry Potter, it's much bigger the inside than the outside, and I mean much bigger. Inside his suitcase, he has this whole kind of like park full of magical animals where he studies them, he nurtures them. Some of the animals that are very rare, very almost extinct, so he takes care of these endangered animals. Some of them are the last of their kind, and he nurtures them, you know, make sure that there's some more animals so they don't go extinct. And I just really liked this part because it was beautiful. It showed a different part of Harry Potter, because a lot of the parts of Harry Potter, there's like big scary monsters and they're attacking the main characters and the main characters have to battle them. But this was a different part. And I also like Newt the character because his whole story is that he's trying to create a book about how fantastic and how beautiful creatures are, and how many amazing magical creatures there are. He's going to call it Fantastic Beasts and where to find them. And you can actually see that book in a couple of the Harry Potter films. It's actually kind of like one of the books in Hogwarts, which I thought was really cool. Kind of connected the story and gives us some more information on one of the characters that you really don't think twice about, but you now realize there's a whole story behind them, which I really like that part. Now, it isn't meant for younger kids. There's a lot of dramatic scenes, some intense scenes. There's even a couple of adult-related moments. So I'd give an age rating of 10 to 18. There's also a little bit of violence, so it's definitely not meant for younger kids. I give it 4 out of 5 stars because despite there being major problems with the story that could definitely be fixed up upon, the visual effects, the cinematography, and the acting and the costume design all outweigh those issues and still make it a wonderful film. And if you'd like to check this out in theaters, which I definitely recommend you do, it's coming out November 18th. Let me give you some help getting to the theaters. Wingardium Leviosa. I'm Gerry, always supporting for Kids First. Bye!